guys, Jen with Astro Astrology here talking to you today about the Great American Eclipse, the total solar eclipse that is happening on April 8th. We have the total solar eclipse spanning the United States. Here in New England, it is going to begin at 2:44 Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to try and videotape it for all y'all, so stay tuned for that. And it is only getting to be about 90% here in New England by about 3:37. But if you're in, say, San Antonio, you're going to get full coverage, totality, and it's going to start around 12:14, and totality is going to be about 1:34. So wherever you are in the United States, I'm sure you're going to see something, but along this line from Maine to Texas, it's going to be the most intense. So the San Antonio area is of peak intensity this year on April 8th with the solar eclipse, and then the annular eclipse, or the ring of fire, where the moon will cover the sun and you'll just see the ring on the outside. It's called the ring of fire. That is going to happen on October 2nd. So that crosses in the exact area of the San Antonio area. So I'm thinking that this is going to be extremely pinpointed in that location, a little more extra than anywhere else, because the annular eclipse is actually going from Oregon to Texas, with the this one coming up on the 8th is going from Maine to Texas, so it's going to crisscross. So anyway, this eclipse on the 8th is at 19 degrees Aries, 24 minutes, exactly conjuncting Chiron. So you want to get up your chart, you want to see what you have in Aries at around the 19th degree, and all the other of the cardinal signs too. This Chiron is our wounded healer. So this is those wounds that we cannot heal, those weaknesses, those things from the past that keep coming up to kind of hold us back. As a collective, this is going to be hitting that sore spot. Again, that wounded part of us, our weaknesses are going to be put in the spotlight. So, you know, what does that mean? What, first of all, is an eclipse in the first place? It is a new moon. So it's a very intense new moon where the moon blocks out the sunlight, and the new moons are generally represent new beginnings. So, you know, ideas, goals, things like that. A new moon in Aries can be overly aggressive because this is Aries, this is that fire, this is that super motivation to get going. Plus, this is also conjuncting the North Node. It's a separating conjunction, but it's still pretty close. And the North Node is our goals, what we want in life, our aim in life, our destiny, what we feel our destiny is, what we feel is going to make our life complete. So, you know, it of course is going to be close to the nodes, but this is extra close because to make an eclipse, the nodes have to be within 17 degrees of the sun-moon conjunction, or the new moon. This is actually within 5 degrees, so that's why this one is so intense. Plus, with all the other aspects that are going around it, we have the Mars-Saturn conjunction that is going to be exact on the 10th. We have Mercury in retrograde that's bringing up the past and throwing it back in our faces again, and it's grinding over that Chiron 3 times this way, then retrograde, and then back ahead forward. That's 3 times. And then we have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that is on the end of the month that's coming up. So what, you know, drive, what are, you know, it's that drive, it's those goals. Whatever the cost is high. You know, what are we willing to do to get what we want? You know, that Aries, that aggression, that moving forward, that new moon, like, I need to do this. Well, we ask ourselves, what do we want? And what are we willing to do to get it? The change is coming, the stage is set. This is worldwide. This is on a collective worldwide basis, and really is very very intense here in the United States. I think it's going to be the most, but whatever happens in the US is usually resonated throughout the world. So as of late, with this new moon happening, you're feeling it, or this eclipse coming up. It doesn't just happen when the eclipse happens. This is a buildup. This is something building, and I'm sure you felt it in a way. A lot of us are feeling depressed. A lot of us are feeling frustrated and alone, feeling blocked. We're stifled. We're held back from what our aims and our goals are in life. Now, I think this is affecting animals differently because all my animals are going crazy. Of course, this one's here because he always is, because he's a camera little hog. But everything is just intense. Everyone's on edge. We have that building conjunction with Mars to Saturn, that is that drive, but it's coming to a stop. And this is in Pisces, so it's making us emotional. It's making us, feeling that sadness. So maybe things that were exciting to us before or made us happy aren't really doing it for us lately, and we're just like, I don't know, I can't get out of this funk. And I've even said that to my husband on numerous occasions. I'm like, I just don't care about anything. I feel like I just don't care about anything. And you have to force yourself to keep going. And how are you going to do that? How are you going to keep yourself motivated to keep yourself going when you are feeling so withdrawn? You're feeling alone. Maybe you feel like you have nobody, and you're just, that's how Saturn feels. Saturn is that, that loner that's out there at the end, kind of at the outcast. So that's one of the factors that is making us feel that way. You're not alone. A lot of us are going through this. Many of us are feeling that same way, especially if this is happening in these key points in your chart, on your angles, on your, if it's in your sun, if your sun is in any of the cardinal signs, especially Aries, your moon, or any of your angles, you're going to feel this, and you probably already are. The eclipse conjunct with Chiron is exposing those pains, those weaknesses, and it's almost like putting a spotlight on them. You think that everyone can see that you're not feeling right, and you feel that spotlight on you, that spotlight on the things that you may have been insecure about that are coming back to haunt you, that Mercury retrograde and things from your past, things from when you're a child, or from even a past life if you can't pinpoint it. But definitely find out where your Chiron is in your chart and see where those weaknesses might be. Can be anything. So with Mercury retrograde, that things coming back to haunt us, that it's raking just back and forth over it. So it's our vulnerabilities. It's what we don't feel totally confident about that is really kind of being brought out. So I decided that, since I've been feeling like this, I'm going to say a positive thing every day, even if I don't feel positive. Maybe I'm going to work and it's like, ugh, I don't feel like dealing with it today. So this morning, I'm on my way to work, and I said, my positive affirmation is that I made all these extra hard-boiled eggs for Easter, and I can bring one to work every day, and I was looking forward to it. And then I was like, oh my God, because we had a big storm, totally forgot it. And then it was like, there was me going, my Saturn hit me, and so that's your Saturn wall hitting you and kind of bringing that up. Another example is yesterday I was driving to see my sweet angel, straight from heaven grandbaby, and there was this guy that was next to me, and I was sitting at a stoplight. He comes barreling up, and 1,000 miles an hour, and then dead stop. And then when the light changed, he goes barreling ahead, dead stop, and kept like stopping and starting and stopping and starting, scaring the crap out of me. But that is kind of like, that unknown, that Pisces, that I don't know what's happening, and then that that Mars start and then stop. So it could be something happening to you as easy as that. It doesn't have to be this like crazy thing, but something like that could happen. So I'm thinking that guy definitely had that transiting his third house of short-term travel, because it was in his truck, and it was really, really kind of scary. So anyway, another, so the Mars-Saturn conjunction getting closer, peaking on the 10th. That's just 2 days after. So, that is in our subconscious. That is why we have these blocks. We have these emotions. You know, Pisces is that, you know, that high emotions, and we're feeling emotional, and, you know, that depression. So we want to, you know, be there for each other. We're in this together. So please share your feelings in the comments. We'll talk about it. We'll check out where this is in your chart. Maybe, you know, ask a question, see how others are feeling, and say, like, here's where I'm feeling vulnerable right now. What positive things can I do? And maybe other people will help you out. So due to the track of this eclipse, the Great American Eclipse, it's in America. So the focus is mainly on the U.S., but whatever happens in the U.S., again, filters out throughout the world. In the U.S. Sibley chart, we have the eclipse in the 5th house. So normally eclipses affect those with power or status. This is ruled by the sun. So the sun is like, so those major, you know, are leaders, celebrities, you know, all those people that are kind of in that elite status almost. So in the 5th house, that's recreation, sex. So I would not be surprised that, you know, this is stuff that's going to be exposed, and we're already seeing this a little bit coming out, you know, with some revelations with this P. Diddy stuff. You know, that's things being exposed. This is, you know, bringing it out, illuminating us to, like, here, look at this, and then this is the seed that's planted, and it's going to grow. Is it going to get worse? What's going to happen? You know, with celebrities, with, you know, government, who knows? Because the eclipse is also in a square to Pluto. So Pluto is about, you know, that deep, dark underbelly, bringing that to light, you know, that kind of, you know, bringing up what we try to hide away, you know, that deep down, you know, that deep, dark underbelly, those things that we try and repress and we don't want to expose, that we don't want people to know. The Mercury retrograde, in addition to this, is things that you've done in your past coming back to haunt you. So this whole P. Diddy scandal, if this does come to fruition, I think that just kind of spells it out. It's just like, okay, that's, you know, pretty much exactly of what's happening. Exposing also corruption. That Pluto square is exposing these things, illegal activity, corruption, illegal sexual activity, and just evil in general, just bringing that out and just putting it on the forefront, exposing those weaknesses, weaknesses of what you might have done in your past. The U.S. chart, the Mars-Saturn conjunction will be in the 4th house. So that is land, that's, you know, rebels, that's political opposition. And, you know, we see this centered at, you know, at the border with, you know, people coming in that are just pushing through. They're tearing down those borders. That's the action. That's that, you know, that Mars going against that Saturn and then ripping it down, crossing the river. And, you know, the migrants trying to come in, and we see video of them pulling down a fence to, you know, they're forcing their way in. That's our weak spot. That is the weak spot of the U.S. It's one of them anyway, and it's really being brought to the forefront. The Chiron conjunction with the eclipse exposing that weakness in opposition to the natal or the Saturn in the U.S. Chart. So the Chiron conjunction with the eclipse and the Chiron return that's happening in the U.S. chart is in opposition to the Saturn that is in the chart. So that is exposing, again, our weaknesses with our borders. Saturn, borders, infrastructure, you know, exposing, you know, things are coming out that maybe, you know, things aren't very well built, you know, things that are from the past, like the bridge that just got hit by that barge. So that is, you know, Mars moving forward, hitting the bridge, that's Saturn. But Saturn, you know, the infrastructure wasn't, you know, because it was built so far and long ago that it just broke right down and on the water. So Pisces. So, you know, that is just spells it all out. Mars, movement, impact. Saturn, you know, the structure, the bridge, Then we have the border, that weakness, that images of, the migrants destroying the fences. Expect this to get a lot worse, especially down there in Texas, where this is just in the spotlight, especially with the two. I would expect this to be happening all year. I don't think it's going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better because of that crossing of the two eclipses. The one in October, that's going to be crossing there. So it's really just pinpointing that spot in the U.S. where that kind of weakness is, that we need to come together and build as a United States. We need to focus on those weaknesses. As a nation, our weakness is exposed. We have to protect ourselves. We have to, it's almost like just protecting your own well-being in yourself, how this is happening to yourself. That weakness, you don't want it to be worse, so you want to try and make it better. You want to heal from it. You want to do what you can to heal it. With the border, for instance, or with our weaknesses as a country, it's, we want to solve that because we don't want to appear to be weak. We're the United States. We're like, hey. So we need to really, come together as a nation. All the weaknesses of our forefathers is all coming back to haunt us. The history of the U.S., laws like abortion laws, children, women's rights, it's all fifth house stuff. That's all where this is happening in, with the eclipse in the U.S. chart. So we need to face these old wounds of the past. In order to heal, we need to come together as a nation. We need to move forward. So we have to come together to heal, to move forward. We need to look at our weaknesses, address them, and move forward from them to make our country better. So at the end of the month, that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in the 6th house of the U.S. is that labor force, public servants, the everyday citizens, health and work. Unforeseen uprisings with the people, perhaps, intensity. This is, Jupiter-Uranus is that unpredictability. Uranus is not predictable. We have no idea what this could bring, but it's going to be something big because Jupiter. Jupiter just expands things, makes things that much bigger. So if it's a good thing, makes it bigger. If it's a bad thing, makes it that much worse. So the intention around the citizens, or intensity around the citizens, is really high and it's escalating, and we all feel that, we all see that. More protests, riots, really becoming worse as the cracks in the system and the weaknesses are exposed and revealed. So how can we see this manifest? The Aries, the Aries fires, literal and figurative. The Earth, Taurus, stability. That's where this, Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is going to be happening. So we have the military battles, seas, with Mars and the Saturn conjunction, and who knows what's going to happen there. More infrastructure problems. Hopefully not, but I saw another boat hit something. That one didn't break, but still, what if, how many of these things are going to happen? So as far as the U.S. presidential candidates, Biden has this in his 4th, 5th, and 6th houses. The Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is opposing his Mercury, and and Mars, his natal Mars and Sun are in a little wider orb. So also the eclipse is quincunx his MC. So all you astrologers out there, you can figure all that out. For Trump, then, it's in his 8th, 9th, and 10th houses, the eclipse in his 9th house. So the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is actually an applying conjunction to his MC, and the eclipse is sextile to his north node. And then our third party candidate, now I had a little trouble finding his birth time, but if this is right, this RFK Jr., his eclipse is exact. This eclipse is exact his MC, happening in his 8th, 9th, and 10th house as well, just like Trump. That would be in his 9th house. if the birth time is correct. So do with that what you will. I'm going to do little TikToks of all of that because it doesn't do well on YouTube. I usually get kicked off, so we won't do that. So, but I'll have them on YouTube as well, but definitely check them out on TikTok as well. And all I can say is that this is, again, going to have a major impact on all those candidates, on all of us as a collective worldwide, and especially here in the United States. Some negative and some positive. So be sure to subscribe and comment and let me know in the comments how you're feeling. Let's support each other. Let's talk it out. And if you are questioning how this is falling in your chart, feel free to message me and just ask and say, here's, send me your date, birth date, time, and place, and we'll check it out and we'll see how it looks for you. And that is about it. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned for the eclipse video that I'm going to put out of the eclipse in New England here on Monday, and we will see you then. Bye.